Hello and welcome to Radio Scilly's Video News for the week beginning the 29th of March 2010. Radio Scilly's Video News is brought to you in association with Worldwide Financial Planning for advice on inheritance tax, business finance, mortgages and debt consolidation. Matt Hyam from Worldwide Financial Planning is on the islands on St Mary's on the first Thursday of every month at the Atlantic Hotel. And Radio Scilly's Video News is brought to you in association with Truro and Penwith College. Find out more about courses for islanders on the mainland or in Scilly at www.truro.ac.uk. And listen out for one of 365 amazing facts about Truro College every day on Radio Scilly.
Well, Walk Scilly, the island's walking festival, starts this week. Organisers are continuing with the guided strolls and sessions that have proved popular over the last 4 years, including the top-to-toe walks covering an entire island. The hope is, though, that some new themed and activity walks could generate mainland publicity for this year's event, which in turn could bring us new visitors in 2011. Sophie Hughes is from the Tourist Information Centre.
You know, we're very fortunate that this year 2 people came to us saying that they would like to guide walks on Scilly, each with their own sort of specialism. So we've got the new wild food walks this year and the singing walks. Both of those people approached us, which is, it speaks volumes about the sort of reputation that Walk Scilly has.
2 founders of the Eden Project have been in Scilly to make a documentary about sustainability. Dave Mania, who's now the chief executive of Chef Jamie Oliver's 15 organisation, which trains disadvantaged youngsters at Watergate Bay, came to the island to talk about the work with Hell Bay Hotel.
We train them to be the chefs of the future, and this is the time of year when we graduate them. Last year, what we do is we place them with other restaurants in the southwest or around the world, actually.
Also, Tim Smith came over to make the documentary with him. Tim is the chief executive of the Eden Project, and he says that Scilly could soon start a twinning-style relationship with the Maldives.
Because it will help them create another moment in history which is theirs and owned by them, and it's of now, rather than something which is always harking back. I think a lot of communities need that kind of regeneration, and I found it very inspiring.
A day of business advice at the Old Wesleyan Chapel appears to have been a major success. Around 60 islanders called in for sometimes detailed discussions with a range of experts in grants, finance and business development. Stephen Bahane is the chief executive of the South West Regional Development Agency and says the event seems to have attracted more people than they'd anticipated.
From the people you've met today, and it's been really good seeing a lot of people turn up, which has proved that the Isles of Scilly is not only a beautiful place, but it's a good place to do business as well.
Stephen says the islands get attention because we are a special case.
There are case studies around, but yes, things are special on the Isles of Scilly. I don't need to tell you that. It's something to do with the scale of the businesses, and very often people are doing more than one activity, perhaps while they're getting that business going. There are special circumstances, and we've got to recognise those in offering business support. That's what we're trying to do.
Anna Peachy from Business Link says many people who went along weren't really interested in grants, but really wanted to know about marketing and gaining advice. 40 attendees will now start an ongoing relationship with the agency, which she says is exceptional. It's because our business sector appears to be dynamic and prepared to seize opportunities.
Fairly safe job. Here what we find is people spend their time doing things that will make them money. They don't necessarily know how much money it makes them, but lots of people have 2, 3, 4 jobs, very often 2, 3 or 4 businesses.
The organiser of a petition against the Isles of Scilly Wildlife Trust's policy says he's pleased with the response. Dave Badcock put the forms in the paper shop on February the 21st, and since then over 200 people have added their names. Dave doesn't want the trust to continue cattle grazing if it means paths are fenced off. He feels the use of electric fencing affects tourists' freedom to roam, and it's unsightly.
We live here, and we love the place for the scenery, the beautiful scenery, the diverse wildlife we've got. And just a little bit more, how do you put it? A little bit more thought for what the locals think. Basically, that's what I'm after. Just keep Scilly as it is. Why change Scilly from to something completely different for the sake of a minority?
Ireland's pub licensees have heard in the Pubwatch meeting of the problems of a chemical which has been taken by some residents and seasonal workers. It's called methadril, and it's designed as a plant fertiliser and is unfit for human consumption, but taking it has seen 2 people hospitalised. The organisation also banned a local man for 2 years from all premises after openly smoking cannabis on the Atlantic Inn patio. St Mary's police say they've had enough of irresponsible parking in Hugh Street. PC Mark Blythe tells Radio Scilly News that now the yellow parking lines are down, people should take notice of the daytime restrictions. He says the road's getting clogged up too much, and now as we get into the season there'll be more traffic, particularly when the new school bill gets underway. Anybody to be found flouting the parking rules during the day will get an advisory note and could be liable for a £30 fine. A group of students from the Five Islands School have been to the French capital to find out how the city promotes tourism and how it helps visitors. The youngsters are preparing a presentation and will present their findings to the council.
Paris is split into 20 different parts, and it's divided into 2 by a river, and I didn't know that before I went.
Islanders have been advised to contact their accountants for information about impending changes to the rules around furnished holiday lets.
Today will be to everybody that they really should talk very, very soon to their accountants to find out the full depth. Now, it is very difficult because a lot of accountants actually haven't got to grips with this particular regulation.
In the future, they won't be classed as businesses, and that means some tax perks will not be available. Tim Guthrie from Ireland Property says he's very concerned by the development.
But the key thing that all members of CAHA are asking is that all of their owners and people who are owners of self-catering properties should write a letter to their MP to actually stop this madness.
A group of islanders and users of British International helicopters has celebrated their 4 millionth passenger in Penzance. A Mrs Ireland of Wimborne and Dorset was lucky enough to get the prize. She'll have a helicopter flight anywhere she wants throughout the region and was given champagne and flowers.
I'll definitely be coming to Tresco again.
Mrs Ireland is a Tresco regular, having discovered the islands a couple of years ago, and was given the trip to Scilly by her daughter to celebrate her 80th birthday.
I think it's the most wonderful place on earth. As I say, this is a special birthday present from my daughters. It's just getting better and better.
George Cheetham is the European Managing Director of Sikorsky, who provide the helicopters that have served the islands on the link between Penzance and St Mary's and Tresco.
Still doing a good job, day in, day out, still carrying passengers to the 4 millionth one, and doing a very successful job for the company and for the Isles of Scilly.
He presented an awards to mark the occasion. You've heard of eco-tourism. Now our islands are set to benefit from alco-tourism. 2 planeloads of camera, real ale lovers are set to visit Scilly to have a pint from the ales of Scilly Brewery. Gerald Daniels from Fleeton, Hampshire is leading the delegation. The Penzance Chamber of Commerce is extending to Scilly if there's demand. Chairman Mike Waters is coming over to the islands with a delegation of town's business and tourism leaders to extend the hand of friendship and forge new business relationships with islanders.
That's what it's all about. It's about businesses helping business. And, you know, everybody that's in business, yes, okay, you compete with other businesses at times, but there's also times where you give each other support and encouragement, and this is one of those times where we would quite happily give support and encouragement.
The visit is to firm up relationships that some people believe have been strained by the bitter arguments over the Penzance Quay development proposals as part of the route partnership and the Battery Rocks debate.
It's brilliant. I mean, we wanted to build on what's gone on over the harbour link, the sea link over the last few months. And to work closely with businesses on the islands, and we've certainly made bridges to make a start at that this morning.